Alright, this is going to be the last one in our Openings Oddities mini-series. And this time, depending upon what we get, I'm going to try to make the Barnes or the Ware or the Desperez work. Okay. And as we talked about those in the previous lines, you know what? The previous video, I should say, I'm going to try to make the Barnes work no matter what. All right. Okay, that makes me nervous. I don't want to mess around. I'm a big fan of castling, so I want to try to do that as quickly as possible. Can I get away with the mix and match? Oh yeah, we definitely do transpositions in the course. Okay, I got the bishop pair for my time, if you will. Yeah, okay. Gonna go h5. That's interesting. Fight for key squares and whatnot seems kind of the thing to do. I don't know so much about this line, boss man. I'm starting to get unreasonable play for, I mean, fix my issues with my pawn, and now I've got an open rook, and I'm starting to get away with one here. I feel like it's amazing how quickly things can go wrong in chess. Never seems to surprise me. Yeah, pawn structure's looking good. You know what, we'll go with that. I like stuff. Okay. Bishop pair, extra pawn. Success! I didn't really want the rook. A lot of people are like, wow, why aren't you taking the rook? He'll check me, he'll get some counterplay. I do want that knight, though. First, we'll take there. GG. Called it. Sometimes you can sense. So that was more of kind of the reason that this game is a reason why I wrote Opening Oddities. You shouldn't be letting your opponent get away with move 1 f3. This is arguably the worst opening move. Named after Mr. Barnes, and it's kind of interesting. The original Opening Oddities text came out in 2019, and then this year I hammered away and did some major updates to it and gave brand new lines in a lot of scenarios just because, you know, variety is the spice of life. What can you do? But Mr. Barnes earned f3 and f6 because he played them in the time period. And you can check the database because Mr. Barnes clapped none other than Paul Morphy. Yes, that legendary Paul Morphy with f6. Yeah. And I've got that game included in the course just because I'm like, I thought, why would the chess gods curse someone by naming f3 or f6 after him? But Mr. Barnes, he made it work. He earned his name being on that move. So respect to Mr. Barnes. And yeah, with f3, I mean, of course we did the e5, d5 thing here, but e5 straight away is going to be the better way to handle it, where you're starting to see moves like knight h3. And again, Carlsen, but you can't get away with it as much as you're having to make these extra moves a lot like I did. And in fact, I believe I have this game in the database as well. Compare the positions where Black's already castled, queen sides, aggressively set up, White's king is out in the open, and it's just a money position, and you can only be so good. And the boss himself got as much as he possibly could from the busted position, trying to get it playable, but it just isn't enough to hold the position together, and went on to lose here with White. But, oh wow, almost got away from him. I thought it was about to be over. Okay. Yeah, the boss got more than he should have, definitely. But there's a reason I call him the boss. And yeah, more work to be done. And finally, the king and pawn endgame where black won. So yeah, the man's tough to beat. What can you say? So that's a pretty good example for how black should be handling this line. Of course, if you want more coverage, check out the main course. But yeah, the reason for writing opening oddities is this type of line. Right here, I wouldn't recommend taking the knight on h3. Why? Because the knight's going to have to move again. And are we supposed to be moving pieces over and over in the opening? No. And what's better in open position, a knight or a bishop? So, to me, it's an error in logic why we're capturing on h3. You're like, well, I made him move the bishop again. Is my bishop such a great piece on g2 entombed by the f-pawn? No, it sucks. So, already I think my opponent is getting off the beaten path, and most of what I do in opening oddities in the peculiar lines, like in the Barnes variation, is focus on systematic thinking, and it's more of a middle game course, talking about strategy and thinking. And here, bishop takes h3, question mark. No problem putting a question mark on that move. So after bishop takes, and let's see what the engine says about it. Knight h3, it's not even on its radar, and black is 2 points ahead by move 4 here, but after takes, cuts that advantage in half. So I think my evaluation's spot on there. And after here, castles and check. Now, a lot of people would go, oh yeah, block the check and move a pawn, but that's not what I'm into. I'm not interested in having to deal with this pin. King's safer on h1, and already I'm getting much closer. It's like first move edge for black kind of deal, but getting closer to equality. And as soon as I'm able to play f takes e4, I'm going to think I have the advantage now. d3 and e4 is far too optimistic. That allows me to develop this rook. And now c3 makes a lot of sense. Okay, bishop d4. That's definitely a good move that my opponent should have considered. I would have went c3. And after ed3, bishop takes f6. Why can't I do that? Yeah, that's right. He got clearance, and that's not good. So yeah, c3 would have been the best move, followed by e takes d3, where I've got to give up the b. And we've got rough equality here, but I would definitely be satisfied with this result after playing the Barnes. So coming back after bishop e7, all my pieces are developed and we're in good shape. Fix my pawn structure even further. The only thing, my king's a little bit airy, but I can always just drop the b back to g2, which I elected to, and here it is already a resignable position, and here it definitely was a resignable position, and my opponent, respectfully, I might add, decides to throw in the towel here, and it is justifiable to resign. And I get that question sometimes from students. It's like, should I always play on? And the answer is when you're playing against someone who you know is going to win with the situation that they currently have, it's respectful to resign. It's like when I'm playing against a grandmaster in bullet chess and I drop a piece and he's got like 40 seconds. I'm going to resign. I don't care if it's bullet because it's he's got the technique. It'll be okay. Well, on to the next game. Here, easy plan for white. Bishop d5. Either drop back the b to anchor it. Safety first. Double the rooks. F-pawn falls. And if not, we're going to keep pressuring until it breaks. Maybe trade queens. Nothing he can do against the extra piece. And that's going to do it for our Openings Oddities mini-series. It was fun kind of trying to play with some of these lines and giving you an idea of what the course is about. Playing against the weird systems. It's kind of fun, not going to lie. So if you're interested in trying to surprise the guys who are playing these for shock value, take a look at the course.